how are you? I hope you'll be fine. So today our topic is how millionaires legally pay less tax than the middle class. So first of all, like my video and subscribe my channel for more informative videos. So the wealth concentrations has reached historic levels. Today a few thousand multi-millionaires and billionaires is the fortune and compare the annual income and entire countries with these rises are pressing them the pressing question as tax system ensuring those with the greatest means contribute their fair share to society. The advice and your rising and distribution while middle and upper middle income groups face stables. And you can see it's some examples rising rates that richest often pay the proportionally less. This chapter examines these issues. First, we explore why progressive taxation matters, showing its role in financing growth and reducing inequality, and safeguard wealthiest and contribute proportionally and less than lower income household. Next, we consider how many ingredients you can see is here for invention in a word. Here are some examples and why progressive taxations. You can see it's a government with the greatest source can invest more in public goods and productive projects that increase the well-being and opportunities of the population. Your means for the societies and determine who contribute to collective lives, and your progressive tax system mobilize the resources of the public and your goals and reduce the inequality, straighten the legitimacy of tax system by ensuring the fairness and limit the disproportional political influence that extreme wealth can buy. And chapter 2 show why progressive taxation is important for you can see for redistribution. First, it can directly reduce the inequality by securing larger contribution from those at the top. Second, it makes it possible the funding of public goods such as the education, health, and social protection, which are keys for reducing inequality. Since the deliberability shift sources towards the middle and bottom of the distribution without progressive taxation. So taxation income gaps translated directly into equal living standard. So a fairer tax system is also a more sustainable one when citizens believe that everyone contributes according to their means. This is there are many willing to pay taxes and less likely to resist contribution. Next, we have the finally highlights a way that the unchecked wealth concentration can distort democracy. The top 0.01% in the United States now account for over 20% of the charitable donation. And this reading you can see here is the more than half political donation and your cultural is a cultural influence. Here's South Korean richest. You can see here is the influence undermining of the principle of equal citizenship, and progressive taxation reduce these distortion by ensuring that great fortune are less valuable as tools of political power. So a more progressive tax is the most progressive tax system is needed in order to reduce political capture by the very rich. Donation in the U.S. And here's a political area and political power. And progressive taxation is not only a way to increase public revenue, it is also a mechanism to directly reduce the inequality, funds the redistributive public goods, foster social cohesion, promote the economic growth, and safeguard the integrity of the democratic representations. The relatively here at top, one of the most important fact highlights in the report in that text progressively breaks down. In distribution, while tax systems are designed to operate at progressive effective rates, often fall sharply for multimillionaire and billionaire once we compare total taxes paid against their full economic income. So large part of top incomes escape taxation. So illustrations illustrate one of the main productions and the paradoxes of the modern tax system. While tax codes in high income countries are often designed to be progressive, they become regressive at a very top of the distribution. Regressively emerge because the income tax fails at the top. In France and the Netherlands, billionaires' effective income tax rates drop off near zero because of tax evidence of the United States. Anti-avoidance rules keep the billionaire rates and somewhat higher, but they still fall sharply compared to upper middle groups. Tax avoidance primarily operate through channels, and it's less avoiding the divide and distribution and the capital gains realization. And number two is the using holding companies and the similarly structures to emulate the earning tax free. So next we have the figure 7.3, and this figure here situates this regressivity in historical perspective. Over the past 3 decades, global multimillionaire wealth has soared, stripping relative to world income. And in the global top, you can see here's a high assets in equivalent to the 12% of the global income. So these decades later, their share has nearly tripled, reaching 33% by 2025. But differently, about 60,000 individuals now control wealth worth and wealth worth 1/3 of the world's combined income. The system means of the funds public goods and reduce the inequality instead that reinforce and concentration at a very top countries. And unless correction is the regressively at the top will continue to not both fiscal capacity and democratic cohesion and many more. So safeguard progressively at the top. At if today's tax system collapse into regressively at the very top, the crucial questions to ask is how do we restore fairness? Provides straightforward answers. Introduce a minimum wealth tax on standing millionaires and billionaires, and figure similar which what would happen if governments in high income countries implemented a tax of the 1%, 2%, 3% of the wealth countries annually. So here's next we have the results are striking with no reform billionaires and face effective tax rates around 20%, well below the burdens of the household with lowers and income at 1%. You can see at 2% the line is essentially neutralized, and the semi-millionaire and the billionaires. So next we have tax justice and the potential of the global wealth tax. The case of a global wealth tax rests not only on technical feasibility but also on justice. The previous selection showed that a 2% minimum tax on billionaires would neutralize regressively at the very uprising $200 to $50 billion annually. annually, yet focusing exclusively on billionaire and risk, leaving most of the ultra rich take space untouched. Millionaires are only the tip of the iceberg. Below them lies a larger group of sandy millionaires. So those worth at least $100 million, whose fortune allows them to minimize the contribution in similar ways, but who would escape any billionaire's only tax. So highlights the scale of the revenue that could be the mobilized under different scenarios, and the global tax on the Santi millionaire would generate more than 500 billion annually and equality. You can see it's some examples. So I hope you understand. Thanks for watching this video. Like my video and subscribe my channel for more informative videos. Goodbye.